And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win for the week of Who Would Win coming to an end. It comes to us from Burn the Flame Dragon. Burn the Flame Dragon, who is Smolder, this adorable little female dragon from My Little Pony. Versus, and they asked who would win the fight. Smolder, dragon, from My Little Pony, versus Ninetales. It was the evolution of Vulpix. So, I mean, yeah, actually, size-wise, how big is Smolder? Because we actually have size comparisons for, actual size is for Ninetales. Ninetales is actually not that small. Like, for Pokemon, it's on the larger side of the scale. Because when you really break it down, most Pokemon, they're in your 3 to 4 foot range. Ninetales, though, is above 5.5 feet, though. Weighing in, roughly speaking, at about 164 pounds. It's basically the size of a pretty large dog. Actually, it's the size of a very large dog, now that I say that out loud. But, yeah, it's of course, that's the Alolan weight and height. So, do we have just the standard one? Oh, here we go. I think I got it here. Height and weight. Oh, yeah, no, actually, apparently it's nowhere near that big. The Alolan Ninetales is around, for some reason, 5. Oh, it's around 5. 5. What? I'm sorry, I'm reading this now. I'm realizing the disparity is actually quite a difference in the Alolan. The Alolan form is actually much larger than the standard. Standard Ninetales, is only about a little over 3.5 feet tall. And are actually only weighing in at about 43 pounds. I am very surprised that it's that small. That means it's smaller than my dog. Now, if you really think that Ninetales at 3.5 feet is relatively, it's no big. She's not even as big as my dog. My dog is 50 pounds. So for God's sake. Whereas Alolan Ninetales maybe it's from the ice type. Maybe that's what changes its weight and size up a bit. Either way, I digress. So, a Ninetales is the evolved form of Vulpix, the fox Pokemon. As such, it is a pure fire Pokemon, and is capable of it's mostly capable of fire type attacks. Incinerate, Ember, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, being among the most strongest ones it can learn. And actually, Inferno, being not quite as strong as Fire Blast, and actually even less effective hit, but it guarantees a burn when it hits. So, I mean, its fire type attacks are great. But, to be fair, it can also learn Quick Attack, Disable to disable target's moves, Tail Whip to weaken defense. It can learn Grudge, which, if the user faints, the user's Grudge fully depletes the PP of the opponent's move. Wouldn't be any good in this. Safeguard, which protects it from status-based moves. Imprison, Extrasensory, which is a psychic-based move that makes a target flinch and is... basically, it has perfect accuracy, but it doesn't have a lot of power, but it always makes them target flinch. Confuse Ray, Will-O-Wisp, which is a fire-type attack that inflicts burn. Spite, which basically makes the ability to use the moves less... You're cutting down their ability to use the moves. You're taking away the PP, the thing that allows them to use the moves. Nasty Plot, which basically stimulates their brain and raises their special attack. That's a general list. Now, I mean, I could go into great effect at all the TMs it could use, because it can learn Solar Beam, Sunny Day, Dig, Hyper Beam, Icy Wind, and this is even the fire version of it can learn this, which is impressive. Rain Dance, Weather Ball, Avalanche, Hex, Draining Kiss, Mystic Fire. But that's not, because at that point, then I could easily design a Ninetales that could beat Smolder. We're going by just what Ninetales can learn naturally. Smolder is a dragon, and as such, Smolder is, at least in my Pony universe, immune to heat and fire-based attacks, can deliver fire-based attacks on its own as well, it can fly, and has enhanced physical capability. As a dragon in the world, at first, Smolder didn't really believe in the whole friendship is magic crap. But friendship is magic. Remember, magic is hedonistic. Smolder ultimately, and because it's headstrong and did everything on her own, but ultimately, group has that. There's not much else to say on Smolder, to be honest. So, I mean, if these two fought, and Smolder isn't very tall. Smolder's probably not much bigger than Ninetales. So if these two fought, who would win? Well, being a dragon, you can assume that the dragon type is, you can factor that into the equation. Add on also to the fact that you could make an argument it's a flying type as well as a dragon type that just learns fire type attacks and it has some sort of heat resistant ability if we're factoring in Pokemon terms. So, these two would try duking it out. Ninetales would try fire attacks with just Smolder flying straight through there. Smolder would make fun, say, stupid fox, and just kind of smack Ninetales around a little bit, blow fire in its face, which would hurt Ninetales to some degree. Most fire-type Pokemon aren't immune to fire. They are just resistant because that's their natural typing. But that doesn't mean they're immune to it. Like, a ghost type can still hurt a ghost type. A ground type still hurt a ground type. Fairy can still hurt a fairy. I don't believe there's any type that's immune to itself. I take that back for one type. And that is poison. In certain circumstances, poison type attacks don't work on other poison types. You can't poison. But other than that, though, still, like Sludge Bomb would still hit a poison type and still do physical damage. It just wouldn't poison them. Anyway, so Ninetales aren't dumb Pokemon. Ninetales are apparently very long-lived Pokemon, and therefore are very much capable, very intelligent as well. And Ninetales, I keep saying Ninetales are gender-wise more often than not male, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, no, Ninetales are gender-wise more often than not female. It's actually one of those different scenarios where it's more women than men in that case, which is cool. I don't really care. So Ninetales would use when realizing fire isn't working, you would have to go to other abilities that it has. Fortunately, it does have other abilities. So when Smolder comes in again, it uses Confuse Ray, and now Smolder's like, what the? And then Ninetales rushes in with a quick attack, smacks into Smolder, then starts coming back with things like Spite, which is reducing its capability. Technically, it doesn't. Smolder doesn't have any attack with PP, but reducing its ability in some way to use its fire. Smolder does come in with another fire attack. However, after using Nasty Plot, Ninetales uses Extrasensory and just smacks Smolder around. Smolder's not even realizing what's going on. Smolder flinches. And now Smolder's like, doesn't guarantee a flinch, but it can make a target flinch. Smolder's like wondering what's going on, and just hits itself. And then Ninetales just looking in there with that aura of just like, yeah, sorry, what you gonna do? It's like, is able to start blowing some fire, but then Ninetales uses Disable and just, why can't I? Ninetales then starts smacking around with Extrasensory again. And this time Smolder punches, gets hit with a Tail Whip, which weakens it further, and then it gets hit with a Quick Attack. I think the problem I see for Smolder in this fight is that while it is immune to fire and Ninetales is resistant to fire, Ninetales is still resistant to fire, Smolder's main form of attack and offense. While Smolder can go in for physical attacks, Ninetales can also go in for physical attacks as well. The difference here is that Ninetales has far more versatility when it comes to its non-fire-based attacks than Smolder does. Smolder, again, I don't watch My Little Pony. As far as I can tell, Smolder hasn't learned any magic or anything like that would play a factor in this fight, but I could be wrong. Smolder, it still has punches, could grab, could fly around, but Ninetales has quick attack for offense as well or for straight physical offense. Then has Nasty Plot to heighten its special attack, which includes something like Extrasensory. It has Confuse Ray, which would be a big knows any move known by the user. Yeah, it wouldn't matter in this case. Sorry, I was looking at the attack in prison. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh man, I just blanked out what I was saying. Confuse Ray, which would play a factor, definitely start confusing. Extrasensory, which means Ninetales doesn't even need to hit Smolder to be able to do damage in turns physically. You can just smack it around and even cause flinching. Then you have things like Tail Whip, which would lower the physical defense, which would make a Quick Attack even stronger by comparison. And then you have Disable, which could just stop Smolder entirely from using their fire attack for a while. You get into a scenario where Smolder's confidence versus lack of versatility versus Ninetales, experience, general intelligence and versatility, even without fire attacks, I think gives Ninetales the win in this fight. Now that being said, I am giving Ninetales access to all of his abilities because because if you're asking me, then okay, well that's not how Pokemon works. You give them 4 abilities, but now you're asking me to tailor a Ninetales to the fight given the abilities attacks it still gets. Add on also to the fact that Ninetales, I didn't even remember to give the ability to it. Because most Ninetales have Flash Fire as their hidden ability. Now, if you don't know what Flash Fire does, allow me to educate you. And Drought is a hidden ability too. What changes weather to intense sunshine to enters battle, but that's a hidden ability. We're talking about the general abilities. Flash Fire activates when the user is hit by a damaging fire type move, aka a Fire Breath from Smolder, including fire type hidden moves. Once activated, users' fire type moves deal 1.5 times damage. While this ability is in effect, the Pokemon is immune to damage from fire types attacks and fire type hidden moves. Accuracy and effect. So really what would end up happening in this fight, actually, for fire type Pokemon with this ability, Will-O-Wisp activates the ability without having any effect. If a non-fire type Pokemon has this ability, Will-O-Wisp activates and will still have the effect. But doesn't matter in this case. So what really, because I honestly completely forgot to factor in Ninetales' Flash Fire ability, which is a ridiculous ability, by the way. If you're smart enough to go up against the Ninetales, don't use a fire type attack. But in this case, Smolder wouldn't know that. So while the initial fire attack from Smolder would hurt Ninetales, the rest would just keep increasing Ninetales' strength. So really, but at the same time, is it increasing? Is it increasing Ninetales' strength overall? No, it's increasing Ninetales' fire type attacks, which Smolder is already immune to. So really now, it's just a matter of who's got the X factor in terms of attacks and abilities that is going to be able to change the outcome of the fight. And for me, it's still Ninetales. It still has more versatility, still has moves that can deal damage to Smolder without the use of fire. And Smolder ultimately only has physical abilities. It's also a question of how long would it take Smolder to realize that Ninetales is also immune to its fire, because the first fire attack would hurt Ninetales to some degree. Afterwards, though, it wouldn't do a damn thing. Ultimately, I still go with Ninetales in this fight. But again, I don't know everything there is to know about My Little Pony. I admit that fully. What do you think? If you know more than me, do you agree with the fact that Ninetales would beat Smolder, or do you think Smolder would ultimately beat Ninetales, given the fact that you may know more about My Little Pony than I do? Obviously, I had to look up information, and the information I have on My Little Pony isn't all that impressive when it comes to Smolder and the Young Six, to be frank. Now, again, that is that might just be I haven't found the right information on it, so who knows? But the information I continually find on these characters seems to indicate that My Little Pony Smolder would lose to Ninetales, in my opinion. But again, that is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you think differently. If you do, that's cool. We're all fans here. Or if you agree with me, that's cool too. I hope you agree with me, but if you don't, that's fine. But ultimately, what do you think? Put in the comments below, let me know. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell if you want notifications. If you have an idea for who wins Star Wars Superhero Magic, What If, Green Lantern Corps, Pokemon Team video, put in the comments below, let me know. But until then, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you folks tomorrow. I was actually planning to do a worst to best, but instead, I basically did an announcement, and it's now up so you can see it, for something that I have been thinking about for a while, but I just never got around to. And with the most recent Death Battle, I'm like, you know what? And Death Battle not coming back till March, I'm like, screw it. Let's do it now. The winner-take-all tournament for Death Battle. All the winners of Death Battle who have ever won a Death Battle are going to be in a bracket-style format to figure out who stands above all. And for fun, after that, later down the road, maybe when Death Battle... after Death Battle comes back, we'll do the losers tournament about all the losers. Because, I mean, look, it's just fun. There are some, I mean, I already kind of did the announcement, but I'll just quickly say there are some rules for it. I did not do any joke fights. So, for instance, like Deadpool versus Pinkie Pie, there was no winner in that first off, but that was a joke battle. The Rebecca Black versus Justin Bieber is a joke battle, so that didn't count. Group fights as well. If like I'm trying to remember, like Red versus Blue did not include that because that's an entire group of characters, and what I did not include that. Draws did not count. So Segata Sanshiro versus Chuck Norris. The Koopa versus the Goomba. None of that counted towards that either. I'm trying to remember if there was anything else. Oh, and if a character had won multiple fights, say like Wonder Woman, they only were included twice. Whereas if a character was in multiple fights, but the outcome changed, like with Mario versus Sonic, then it was a different outcome. Then I chose Mario over Sonic. So there you go. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. The first round of matches will be next Sunday. Give you time to write out your picks and all that stuff. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time, folks. Later.